We're live? Yes, we're live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Back for another Love Your Liver live stream. I've got my mic on. I've got my lights on. We were joking about calling it the liver stream as a play on live stream, but I think we decided not to do that. So anyway, here we are again. So for those of you who don't know, on these YouTube parts, I'm Dr. Garrett Smith, the nutrition detective. And what are we talking about? We're going to be talking about how to actually fix your liver. And we take questions. This is a Q&A. We'll get to questions after the couple of things I do at the start of all of these. Now, if you like what we do here, inside of the Love Your Liver membership program, so it's a private network at nutritiondetective.com. That's a membership only network. If you're getting kind of tired of the social networks and the attitude out there and you want to talk to people, we have a great community there of about over 700 people. So anyway, it's a safe place to go and discuss topics that are not safe out in the social media world. And also in there, I have the inner circle, which is where each week after I do this live stream for an hour, I go in there and I'll be there for multiple hours, generally as long as it takes or as long as I have, to answer questions and go over research and basically show that what we're doing is legit. And we kind of expose all of the corruption and the science and the nutrition and all that stuff that's been going on. So then there's also the advanced detox program for the people who don't want to do the inner circle. There's a lower price version where you get to see the videos about a month later. Okay, so let's get into it today. What I'm going to start off each of these episodes with, for those who need more convincing, is a testimonial from people who have been doing this work with me and others like Grant, doing Grant Generou's work. And then I hear about it and we can talk about testimonials to eating, especially a low vitamin A. You don't get to eat zero vitamin A. For anybody out there who thinks they're eating zero vitamin A, I am very sorry. You're not. And if you are, the research has said for a very long time that the choices of foods you would have to make to eat a zero vitamin A diet would leave you deficient in multiple other ways. I've heard of, here's an example of, if you ever hear somebody saying they did a low vitamin A diet and they didn't do well, Grant and I have both heard of people out there trying to basically eat white flour and white sugar as an actual diet because they decided that those were the lowest foods in vitamin A. They might be, but nobody in the world ever is going to say eating white sugar and white flour is a complete diet, okay? Nobody said, especially on my program, you shouldn't be eating hardly any of that stuff ever. That's just not smart. So people out there who like to say that they tried it and they failed or they did it wrong or they did it and it didn't work for them, there are huge mistakes that people out there can make in their diets. And white flour and white sugar never did anybody any favors. So here we go. This is a gentleman who's on the network. He's been super helpful to me and he's all in and he has quite the testimonial. So these are what he listed for me. My symptoms that are all healed and or significantly improved. Just going to run through the list here. Arthritis, joint pain, inflammation, multiple back injuries, stiff and heavy legs, sore knees, tight calves and hamstrings, tingling down my spine, stiff neck and shoulders, difficulty turning neck left to right and side to side, cracking, grinding, and popping in neck and jaw, itching and dry skin, eczema, acne, jaundice, yellow eyes, yellow skin, pins and needles, histamine reactions, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, multiple chemical sensitivity, severe waves of depression, anxiety, extreme brain fog, migraines, constant flu-like symptoms, allergies, sinuses, hypothyroidism, dizziness, lightheaded, shortness of breath, high cholesterol, elevated liver enzymes, iron overload, copper toxicity, elevated mercury, artery calcification, mineral deficiencies. I help diagnose that. Electrolyte deficiencies, which are minerals. Hypervitaminosis A, Epstein-Barr, chronic Lyme disease, mycoplasma, Borrelia, Babesia, Bartonella, Rickettsia, Ehrlichia, protozoa, parasites, black mold, EMF sensitivity, overweight, pre-diabetic, nausea, acid reflux, abdominal pain, bloating, dysbiosis, SIBO, insomnia, sleep apnea, teeth grinding, low energy, low libido, irritability, sensitive to noise, sensitive to light. Many of you out there are this sick right now. Some of you who are working with me are likely seeing these symptoms get better without having to take, maybe some of you are going to see, I don't know, functional medicine practitioners or other alternative practitioners who are giving you bottles and bottles of supplements like candy, having you take 30 to 50 pills a day. Or you're going to the conventional side and you're getting drug after drug after drug after drug. Let me tell you what side effects are, folks. Side effects from drugs are when it's damaging your liver overall. Okay? That's what the side effects are. And for those of you who have been injured by drugs, and what I mean injured is you still have side effects, problems after you stopped the drug. Many of you here may be from the Accutane world. What does Accutane do once you stop taking it? Why do people have problems show up when they stop taking Accutane? Or 6 months after, like the gentleman I talked to yesterday? It's the liver injury that the drug did. And go look up Accutane liver injury. Go look up Accutane cholestasis, because cholestasis is what liver injuries result in. Cholestasis is the backward flow of bile into your blood. Go look it up. So the Accutane may have completely left your system, like a hit and run in a car. The Accutane's gone, but the damage is left behind. All sorts of drugs. Go look up the liver tox database and then go find all the drugs you've taken in your life. See how many of them cause liver injury and then wonder why you're still sick. And why all the liver treatment programs you've done haven't fixed you, because most of them don't. Most of them worsen the problem. So anyway, back to the testimonial from Tyler. A year into detox and my liver is still very sick. This is truly a marathon, my friends, and not a sprint. While I've made great overall improvements with my surface level symptoms, I still have a long way to go to fully repair my liver. Admitting we are sick and have a liver injury is often the hardest part. From there, it simply takes patience, support, and determination to heal once you know that you're on the right track. And I'm 1,000 convinced without a shadow of a doubt that we're all on the right track here. Data like this doesn't lie. He's talking about his anecdotes and the lab tests that we've done. After everything I've been through, from childhood vaccines to dozens of military vaccines for nearly a decade, they used to line us up like cattle, to 3 rounds of anthrax vaccine prior to deploying to Iraq, for dozens of additional vaccines, shots, and antibiotics prior to traveling to many countries around the world while running a film production company in New York City. Not to mention the chronic Lyme disease I dealt with for over a decade, the excess alcohol consumption, the poor conventional standard American diet with plenty of fructose and very little fiber, the paleo, keto, and carnivore diets high in fat and liver/organ meats. Yeah, my liver sure did take a beating. I'm now convinced that this is a 3 to 5 year process to get all this accumulated poison out of you, and that everyone is so different based on their antibiotic, medication, vaccine, disease, and diet history, and that I still have a lot of vitamin A stored up in my liver. With that being said, I'm feeling so much better overall than last year, coming off nose to tail carnivore and after entirely healing from chronic Lyme disease. And the blood and hair tests prove that. I feel like my cholestasis is slowly improving, as well as my gut microbiome, to be able to slowly get this poison out of my body. So please, everyone, go slow. Don't rush this process. I tried to heal myself in 1 year by pushing way harder than I needed to, and only ended up suffering the majority of the time. It was brutal and entirely self-inflicted. True detox is no joke. As I have a rather extreme personality type, I'm either all in or all out. Many of us here are probably the same way, which is most likely how we ended up here in the first place. By going too extreme in the past on deceptively evil diets and toxic health advice. But I promise this is something that you want to run like a marathon, not a sprint. And that's what we're all doing here. And that's why what we're all doing here actually works. The biggest overall shock is my iron overload. entirely reversed, dropped over 500 points with only 3 blood donations. I've also never gotten my cholesterol this low before. Wish my HDL had risen, but my LDL dropped by over 150 points. My thyroid completely healed as well based on labs. GGT, ALT, and AST liver enzymes are all super low, coming from high before. I just want to give a very special thanks to Garrett Smith and Grant Genereux for everything. I know I still have a long way to go, but the level of excitement and passion of knowing I'm finally heading in the right direction, not only with how I physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually feel, but also now with tangible before and after results / data from these labs. I've been lied to so much within the health community over the years, and it's just so encouraging to know this is the real deal. Hang in there, everyone. You're in the right place. God is good. So, while we're on this testimonial, iron overload. Iron overload is caused by liver injury and cholestasis and vitamin A toxicity. Do you know that your body's only real way of managing your iron levels is through absorbing less iron? You kind of generally, this is accepted in the medical literature, that you kind of have a fairly steady amount of iron you get rid of. It varies a little bit, but it's kind of steady. So your excretion stays pretty steady. But what can your body adjust to adjust your iron levels? It adjusts your absorption of iron. If you go and look at vitamin A and iron, generally in the literature, you'll see that vitamin A, carotenoids or vitamin A, because carotenoids, pro-vitamin A carotenoids like beta carotene turn into retinaldehyde really, and then they can be turned into retinol. They increase your iron absorption. Those of you who have low iron, if you take that advice wrong and you start going and upping your vitamin A, you're gonna not like it either, but that's more rare than iron overload. Vitamin A increases your iron absorption from food. You totally bypass your body's control mechanism for controlling your iron levels. So we have this gentleman in less than a year brought his ferritin down by 500 points, from 500 something down into the range I want, which is 30 to 70. What did he do? He followed the stuff on the Love Your Liver program. He ate, I want you to hear this, you iron overload people. You people out there who might be listening to this and thinking that, well, he obviously must have eaten less red meat. No, he ate red meat 2 or 3 times a day, every day. How could he lower his iron overload? Because iron overload is not a problem of excess iron in your diet. It's a liver problem. And we fixed the vitamin A intake, so he stopped absorbing too much. We helped fix his liver so that the bile was going the right way, which is the opposite of cholestasis. Cholestasis is the bile going the wrong way into the blood. Gosh, the liver stores iron, and if the liver gets rid of iron through the bile, and the bile in cholestasis is going backwards into the blood, wouldn't we see high iron in the blood? Oh, Tyler commented, at least a pound of lean beef / bison a day, every day. A pound of red meat a day. Ferritin down by 500 points in a year with only 3 blood donations. If you didn't know, a blood donation typically will lower your serum ferritin, your blood ferritin, by somewhere between 30 to 50 points. And this is a very consistent number. Are there people who are outside of that range? Of course. But with all the ferritin numbers I've seen and all the blood donations that I've recommended and tracked, 30 to 50 points down from a single blood donation is typical. So even if we take the 50 and we multiply that by 3, that's only 150 points. Where did the other 350 points come from? From fixing his liver and from the bile not going as much back into his blood. So anyway, there's that. And then, oh yeah, for those of you who are obsessing over your leaky gut and your microbiome, your leaky gut and your microbiome are controlled by your toxic bile. So nobody who's trying to fix leaky gut is actually addressing the toxicity of your bile. They're just trying to give you a bunch of things like glutamine and all this other stuff to try to fix it. Remember, what they say is active vitamin A is retinoic acid. All trans-retinoic acid, also known as retin A, is used as a chemical peel on faces. It's called a yellow peel if you've ever had it. It's meant to dissolve your top layer of skin. Well, what if dissolving the top layer of your gut skin might make it a little leaky? And then I do have research. I'll find it if I need to. Actually, let me find it right now. Let me go into my Slack. And so my Slack is where my research database, the people in the inner circle, get access to it. But what we're just going to do is we're going to do bile permeability, because that's where I have it. And here's the paper. Bile acids modulate tight junction structure and barrier function of CaCO2 monolayers via EGFR activation. I'll plug that in to the comments. What does that mean? What are tight junctions? That's what keeps you from having leaky gut. Oh, wait, I'll just put the link. I was out of characters. There we go. So tight junctions, you want your gut tight. You don't want it leaky. So bile has been shown to modulate tight junctions. And what it means is the more toxic your bile gets, the less tight it gets. So you get leaky gut. And then we have the whole retinoic acid known to be a chemical peel. The paper I have on it from a dermatologist says you can use retinoic acid to induce controlled wounds to the skin. Controlled wounds to your skin. What do you think it's doing when you eat it? What do you think it's doing to your gut after your liver transforms carotenoids, retinol, retinaldehyde, retinol esters into retinoic acid, which is part of the way it gets rid of it. And then that goes into your gut because that's how bile leaves, is through your poop. So you now have chemical peel on your gut surface. Okay, so anyway, your gut microbiome is determined by your bile too. So for those of you who are obsessing over fixing your gut microbiome, and you're not addressing your liver and your toxic bile, then. So let us get into the next part. Well, I'll take a couple questions and then what I was going to get into today is carotenoid addiction. We don't get addicted to things that are not poisonous. Generally, if you're addicted to something, it's a poison. People get addicted to sugar. People get addicted to nicotine. People get addicted to caffeine. People get addicted to fat. Oh my goodness. So carotenoids actually have research on them being addictive, and we'll get into that in a second. So first question, total diff. Is it possible that beta carotene, which is not taken up by the liver with help from fatty acids, can then harm our gut microbiome? Colorants seem to have an antibiotic function, or even are antibiotics. Now that I haven't looked into. Let's do. Let me see. See if I can find anything easy. Come on, load. And you have to remember, in the research, they always want to try to show every vitamin A toxicity study you'll ever read, they always start the study with vitamin A is necessary and good, and we need it for this, and we need it for that, and we need it for this. And then all of a sudden you'll get into the study and they'll be like, oh yeah, vitamin A caused a problem and it's toxic and this was not expected. And oh wow, we didn't expect to see this, but vitamin A is still good. It's the most apologetic thing. It's the biggest cover-up you've ever seen. Let's see. I don't care about bivalves and their carotenoids. I may look into it, but carotenoids that are not absorbed and are hanging around in the gut, they're going to do something. They are in plants as a defense system. Plants wage chemical warfare because they can't move. Okay? It's very important. They wage chemical warfare They don't have fists and feet and teeth and brains to fight or to move even. So they wage chemical warfare. So this is why, do I advise a carnivore diet because we need to obsessively avoid plant toxins? No, you just need to be smart with picking your plant foods. It's quite simple. There are plants that are much less toxic, and ones that are more towards white or off-white or light green are the safer plants. The ones that are not strongly flavored. Strong flavors and bitter flavors indicate poison. Like garlic. Strongly flavored, strongly scented, telling things to go away. Bright colors, telling you don't eat this, it's poison. That's the simple thing. So I could look into that. I'll look into that. Maybe I'll get into that on the inner circle, but from what I was looking, it was going to take me too long to research it here. So Sam asks, is taurine helpful or harmful for vitamin A detox? That's a good question. There's one study which came to this conclusion. Taurine, for the most part, worsened the retinoid embryo toxicity. Okay. Taurine is interesting because if you go and you watch my vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist video, I show that taurine deficiency symptoms can look exactly like vitamin A toxicity symptoms. Now, this is part of my approach, is that at different phases, taurine, we're starting to get into the antidote idea in the inner circle, and this is a huge concept. And it starts to explain a lot of the confusing things about B vitamins and things like taurine and glycine and sulfate and other things like this that are conjugated to bile acids. There can be bound to bile acids. Taurine in some people, they start on taurine. We had a gentleman talking about this. He started on taurine. Tons of his problems improved. He tried coming off of taurine now, and within a week, he was like, this is terrible. My symptoms are all coming back. He got back on taurine. We have other people who took taurine for a while, and they felt better on it. And then after a while, it seemed like the taurine, they felt like, in their experience, that taurine turned on them. The taurine was making them feel worse now. So they got off of taurine. What does taurine do? Taurine conjugates bile acids. As we learn more about the bile acid profiles or patterns, if you want to go and search for your favorite diseases and look up bile acid profile or bile acid pattern, you will see that there are different patterns in the different bile acids between conjugated ones, the ones that don't have stuff bound to them, and unconjugated ones don't have stuff bound to them, and conjugated ones that have stuff bound to them, like taurine or glycine or sulfate, things like that. So, as we shift the bile, as we start sending more bile where it's supposed to, less where it's not supposed to go, as we are shifting the gut microbiome with the bile, taurine could be good for some people at certain times, and it may not help them feel good at certain times. Copper toxicity issues plays a huge role in taurine. But I have another one. So you put that link, and then where was it? Let me find it. I have that paper. So it's going to be, oh, come on, Slack. You can do this. Let me find it. Taurine. Let me hypervitaminosis. Let me use that one instead. I know I have this. Boy, Slack is slow today. Let's see if I have it in the easier place. I swore I had that in my. Here we go. Effect of vitamin A, effect of taurine on toxicity of vitamin A in rats. The last couple lines of it. However, these toxic effects of vitamin A were significantly reduced when the rats were fed the diet with the supplement of taurine. Furthermore, the level of vitamin A in the serum of rats treated with taurine and vitamin A was higher than that of rats treated with vitamin A alone. This indicated that taurine might play a role in reducing the toxic effect of vitamin A. Certain things like zinc and taurine, they do a very interesting thing, and they will actually raise the blood retinol levels. Complicated, but taurine can tend to increase bile dumping. So, as an example, taurine can increase bile dumping. That doesn't mean it's good. It means that your liver is dumping more bile. Okay. Where's the bile going? Is it going into your gut where it's supposed to go, or is it going back into your blood through intrahepatic cholestasis, extrahepatic cholestasis, or actually penetrating your leaky gut and getting into your blood that way? So let's theorize. One of the things we know about pregnancy is that cholestasis, there's a paper out there that has now deemed that subclinical cholestasis below the level that the doctors can find it, is to be considered normal in pregnancy these days. That shouldn't be normal. They're normalizing pathology within the population, is what they're doing. But so anyway, so cholestasis would be very normal in a pregnancy these days. You know that 60% of the kids are being born with jaundice. Do you know what jaundice means? It means cholestasis. So kids are being born with liver injury and cholestasis because their mothers are so toxic. So imagine this, pregnant mother who has cholestasis, taking taurine. So you talked about rat embryos. So we're talking about a pregnant, was it rat? I didn't see if it was rats or mice. It didn't say. Anyway, so the rats or the mice, they're pregnant. They're taking taurine. They have cholestasis already because they feed them vitamin A in their feed and copper and manganese and all sorts of other garbage. They start refluxing the bile into places it's not supposed to go. Too much bile in the wrong places causes problems. And then you see increased embryo toxicity. That's why this vitamin A detox thing, people think they're just going to eat low vitamin A and that's going to be all they have to do. This is not a game, folks. This is not playtime. This is not just, I'm going to do this little diet. I'm going to avoid vitamin A as much as I can because you may be inducing over time, like, right? If you start exercising more, you're going to need to eat more food, right? That makes sense, right? You're expending more energy. If you are detoxing hard, you're trying to get rid of decades of stuff from your liver. You're trying to fix the liver injury that has been going on possibly your entire life. I know mine at least started preteen. You're trying to fix that. You're trying to fix it in a couple of years, stuff that took decades to accumulate. You're going to need more nutrients, just like the person who starts exercising is going to need to eat more food. And people are out there just messing around going, I'm doing this and something doesn't feel right. I'm getting these symptoms back. And I'm like, well, zinc deficiency can cause all of those symptoms and you're detoxing and you may honestly not be able to get enough zinc from your diet. You may need to supplement, no matter how much you love the idea of all we need is food. We also don't need all the industrial strength poisoning that we've had, folks. You want to take a natural approach to fix an unnatural thing that has been done to you. It's going to take longer and you may suffer more because zinc deficiency sucks. And pretty much everybody out there who isn't fixing their zinc has some level of zinc deficiency. Okay? But taurine can be good, can be bad. Actually, taurine is a try it and see. That's actually what I just tell people on consults. I say, is taurine good? Is taurine bad? Should I take taurine? I don't know. What should I do? Try it. Because we don't have enough information on the bile acid profiles and the bile acid patterns to go and manipulate it right now. And still, even if we thought you should have taurine and you take taurine and you don't feel good, should we keep doing that? Doc, it hurts when I do this. Well, don't do that. I keep banging my head on the same wall and my head keeps hurting. Okay, don't do that. If you are doing anything, I don't care who the practitioner is, and you are feeling worse, you are doing one of two things. You are either intoxicating yourself with poison, or you are detoxing too fast. Or you may have a nutrient deficiency that's getting worse. Okay? All these things can be addressed. Most people don't know what they're doing about it, though. They're following people who tell them to take more copper, which causes cholestasis. Oh, take manganese, which causes cholestasis. Oh, take vitamin A, which causes cholestasis. Oh, don't worry about the aluminum in this supplement. It's all trace minerals. It's all okay. Oh no, aluminum causes cholestasis. You store aluminum in your liver? Nobody ever told you that, did they? Why do we store all these poisons in our liver? Everybody's like, no, we wouldn't store vitamin A in our liver if it wasn't good for us. That's a crock. You store things in your liver to pull them out of the blood so they don't affect your heart and your brain. That's what your liver's doing. It's not storing it like a depot to use later. Okay? You have to get that idea. We have been taught all the wrong ideas. Okay? So, next question. Could one of your Accutane poison followers recover from corneal thinning, keratoconus, eye disease? Sadly for me, I think it is almost impossible to recover from that. I don't know. Some of these things, the level, I would be looking into, when I see eye disease, if you watch that vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist video, you'll see a definite trend of zinc deficiency. Let's just do this. Let's do zinc keratoconus PubMed. Well, here we go. This is from the paper. Wait, let me get it on here. Let me get the link back. Association between advanced keratoconus and serum levels of zinc, calcium, magnesium, iron, copper, and selenium. From the conclusions, the lower serum levels of zinc, copper, and selenium in patients with advanced keratoconus compared with healthy controls indicate the possible role of antioxidants in the etiopathogenesis of keratoconus, which points to the early treatment of this progressive degenerative disease with supplementation therapy rather than keratoplasty techniques. Okay. Zinc and copper follow each other in the body. The zinc is trying to protect you from the copper. So if you were to see low zinc levels, you're generally going to see lower copper levels. Does that mean you need more copper? No, absolutely not. Zinc and selenium are actually very, very important in my programs. And we test, we don't guess, then we address. So could this be potentially zinc and selenium deficiency related? Yes. Can those deficiencies be fixed? Yes. So is it possible, do I believe that the body can heal most degenerative diseases by avoiding putting in the poisons, by helping the body remove the poisons, giving the body the essential nutrients it needs? Notice I didn't say herbs, I didn't say essential oils, I didn't say weird amino acid compounds. I said essential nutrients. Do I think the body can quite possibly heal it? Yes. The older somebody is, the longer and harder it's going to be. The worse condition somebody has, the longer and harder it's going to be. The longer the condition's been there, the longer and harder it's going to take to fix it. These are just the realities. This is just like if you were restoring a car. The worse shape the car is in, the more money and more work you're going to have to put into fixing it. That's just the way it is. Whether it was your fault or not that you got sick, the reality is the situation is what it is, and then we have to fix it. We at least try. I'm not one to give up. So I've never given up on a client ever. I'm the guy who gets the people that other doctors have given up on. So if you've been rejected or thrown out of their practice by other doctors, I don't do that. And I think if somebody says, Doc, I tried that supplement you said, it didn't work for me, it didn't feel good, I say, okay, actually, I tell them in their consult, stop it. Stop taking it. Do not take it just because I said to. We need to figure out why and what's going on. Rather than saying, well, I've heard this from people. The doctor said, like, if I couldn't take the supplements they wanted me to take, that he wouldn't see me anymore. He fired me as a patient because I couldn't take the supplements because the supplements he gave me made me feel bad. What did I say about it? If things make you feel bad, it's either a poison you're putting in, which a lot of supplements are. Probably 99% of the supplements out there are probably poisonous. It's either a poison you're putting in, you're detoxing too fast, or you have a nutrient deficiency that's not being addressed. Okay? So this is a continuation from the person who asked that question. For my background, I'm almost 3 years on a low vitamin A diet, thanks to Grant. At least it did not get much worse for me, but there is now a change going on. Grant's diet, which was beef or bison, and mostly, I believe, black beans and brown rice and white rice in various ratios. One thing you must remember is women have these problems much worse than men, and it's just the nature of the beast. Cholestasis happens much more in women than men. If you look up primary biliary cirrhosis, which is cholestasis, also known as primary biliary cholangitis, which is the disappearance of bile ducts, which then causes what? Cholestasis, a refluxing of bile into the blood. It is 9 times more prevalent in women. It's just the way it is. Women get these problems much more than men. 9 to 1. 9 cases in women to 1 case in men. Doesn't mean men don't die from bile in their blood. Actually, I was just looking this up the other day. Let me find it. Serum bile. There it is. No, that was not it. Where was it? So people might be wondering about heart attacks and stuff. We'll just throw heart attacks out there. Are heart attacks related to increased bile in the blood, Dr. Smith? Here's the title of the paper I found yesterday. Fasting serum total bile acid level is associated with coronary artery disease, myocardial infarction, that's heart attacks, and severity of coronary lesions. Let me back up a second for those of you who might be new here today. You are not supposed to have any bile in your blood. 0. No conjugated bile in your blood, no unconjugated bile in your blood. 0. In a truly healthy person, you have 0, 0, 0 bile in your blood. So what are they saying here? Well, let's just go. Conclusions. Fasting serum total bile acid level is highly associated with the presence and severity of coronary artery disease in patients undergoing coronary angiography for suspected coronary artery disease. Interesting. I did a post last time, a link where people with diabetes had higher bile in their blood than people who didn't. And what was the other one I did just yesterday? Oh, celiac disease. That's right. Celiac disease. Let me find that one. Serum primary bile acids in the course of celiac disease. Let me put that in here. Let's read the important line. In untreated celiac disease presenting with subtotal villus atrophy, peak concentrations of primary bile acids were significantly delayed, and serum levels were significantly higher than controls. Small but significant abnormalities persisted after a period of gluten-free diet, despite a normalization of mucosal morphology. More bile in the blood in celiac people. More bile in the blood in diabetics. Okay. This is what they never told you. So, question is, hi, Dr. Smith, why would one have high zinc red blood cells, or high zinc RBC content, but low plasma, but still somewhat in range? Okay. The zinc red blood cell count. The red blood cell tests are, I found plenty of results with plasma levels. They're a lot cheaper. Plasma and serum. I use plasma for zinc and I use serum for copper. RBC levels would stick around a bit longer. Like, to have it high and then have low plasma. The big thing about serum or plasma tests is they are very dependent upon your intake. So when people simply take a zinc pill the day before the test, their serum or plasma levels will go very, very high. Like high out of range. And then what do their doctors tell them to do? Oh my gosh, don't take any zinc. You obviously don't need any zinc. This is terrible. And I go, I just ask them, did you take your zinc pill the day before the labs? So you don't want to take your zinc the day of the lab and the day before the lab. I ask them, did you take your zinc the day of or the day before? And they go, oh yeah, I did. Okay, then we go, well, now we can't use that test. By getting the plasma levels or the serum levels without the zinc the day before, we can get kind of an idea of what's the running zinc in the system. What do you actually have to work with? Not what is the supplement spike doing versus not taking supplements for 3 months doing. I just use those because they're cheap, and I actually do go a lot. I don't go a lot. I have studied under Dr. William Walsh's stuff on copper and zinc. I don't use a lot of his stuff anymore, but I still do use some of the zinc teachings that he does. The high red blood cell zinc, I can't explain it. If they were done at different times, then we have all sorts of wrenches thrown in the mix. I would tend to think that high zinc in your red blood cells would likely also mean high copper in your red blood cells, and I would be wanting to see copper levels. The other thing I do that is different from anybody out there about zinc and copper, that makes things a little more complex, but I actually find that it helps, is I do hair testing for minerals also. So I not only get to see the blood levels of copper and zinc, I get to see the hair levels, which gives us a view of the blood levels of certain minerals over months, over 4 to 6 months, depending upon how long your hair sample is. Like I do my hair sample every month. Can you tell, right? I just did a hair sample. No, it doesn't take that much hair. It takes only a little bit. But when people are doing the full length of the hair sample, like 1.5 inches-ish, we get to see like 4 to 6 months of what I call mineral movements. Understanding what the hair test is good at showing and what it's not good at showing is critical. People who think every mineral on the hair test is completely indicative of everything are very wrong. There's a good amount on the hair test that's not usable. I don't use all the blood tests either. So some people will say, well, how can you use the hair test if you don't use all the minerals on it? I'll say because there's different tools for different jobs and they do different jobs well. I don't use a screwdriver when I need to use a wrench. I don't like the red bloods for whatever reason. And I'm usually pretty good at these gut feelings. I don't like the certain red blood cell tests as much. And zinc and copper are some of the trickiest minerals out there because they have binding proteins. The more binding proteins that something has, the trickier, did I say that, the hair tests get, the trickier the hair tests get. The binding proteins will hide things from the hair test. So I use both. And it's taken me a long time to figure out what I'm looking at. I do try to teach people what they're looking at if they're practitioners, they want to learn. We do have a seminar. I did do a, gosh, what was it? 22 hours, 24 hours worth of seminar. So that's available. If you're interested in that, contact Julie at admin@nutritiondetective.com. It is not available for sale on the store. But if you have no idea about vitamin A toxicity and haven't learned about it yet, I wouldn't spend your money on the seminar because you have no foundation. I would get into the Love Your Liver program first and read everything in there before you think about doing the seminar. So, but the red blood cell zinc, I would tend to say that there's some, what do we want to call it? Some occult copper toxicity in the liver. Because you probably didn't do red blood cell copper at the same time. Most of the time, if you have high copper in places, high zinc will follow because your body uses that to protect you from copper, which is hilarious. In that other study, they said that low zinc and copper and selenium were showing that there was like low antioxidants. And I'm like, copper is an oxidant. Okay, copper oxidizes things. Copper is not an antioxidant. Copper is completely an oxidant. Just terrible. The whole antioxidant theory is garbage. You can go and find that in the literature. They've been like, well, even after the 20 years of antioxidant research, it never really panned out. And people are still shoving in antioxidants. And I'm like, just stop. That's how they convince you to eat foods that are bad for you. Your liver's detox system is an oxidative system. Go look it up. The detox systems, ADH, ALDH, all the dehydrogenases, it is an oxidative system. If you still believe fully in germ theory, your body uses oxidation to kill pathogens. So your liver's detox system is an oxidative system. And the way we kill pathogens is an oxidative system. And yet we have the scientists telling us to eat lots of antioxidants. And liver disease and other diseases going through the roof. And we seem to have a lot of problems with pathogens these days. Antioxidants would shut down your oxidative systems, folks. It all makes sense when you finally understand it. Why would they be telling us to do this? Because they aren't interested in your health, ever. And whenever you see mainstream medicine and alternative medicine saying the same thing, eat lots of antioxidants, eat a rainbow, da da da, you should do the opposite generally. Okay? So Thorvald said his hair test was okay. Well, hair test, just to be blunt, I don't say anything's okay until I've seen it. That's just, I don't, when people tell me, here's my labs, I say, give me the ranges, give me the units, give me the actual papers from the lab. I don't, it's the old trust but verify. Like saying your level was in the okay range of trace elements, the okay range goes down to the white area on the reference range goes down to 13. 13 is a garbage zinc number. That's terrible. I actually want people higher than that little white area in the reference range. I want them 18 to 22. So throwing out that HTMA was okay, no offense, it just doesn't mean anything to me because your okay is not necessarily my okay. So saw somebody trolling a little bit. They asked, what was my favorite Pokemon? My boy is into Pokemon. He used to be. Actually, when I was trying to do more exercise for a while, I did play Pokemon Go. I still didn't care about which Pokemon was which. So it was just a way to get me to a little more entertainment while I was walking around. Now I don't use that anymore. I go and walk my, make sure I get in my 10,000 steps a day. And I do it. I have my little Vivo Smart HR fitness tracker. Why do I pick this one? Let's just throw that out there. Because I can turn off the Bluetooth anytime I want. If you've ever gotten a fitness tracker and it has Wi-Fi on it or it has Bluetooth on it, and your wrist started to hurt, or you started to get hand problems or elbow problems or forearm muscle problems, and you can't figure it out, it's because you put an EMF source on your wrist. There's only 2 fitness trackers out there that don't put out, that you can turn off the EMF. I mean, it's still battery powered. People are going to say, well, there's still some EMF. Okay. But batteries are magnitudes less of EMF than actually having a Bluetooth transmitter on your wrist. So Vivo Smart HR, you can turn off the Bluetooth. You can Google fitness trackers, that low EMF fitness trackers, and then it tells you how to turn it on and off on there. I love mine. It's been working, helping me, what is it? What is measured gets managed. It's been helping me measure and manage my my walking, which is walking is transportation, but walking is also the foundation of health. And one of the things we don't do enough each day is walk. So, question is, could it be that humans who genetically are bad in converting beta carotene into vitamin A and who can't store it properly in the liver have far more problems with overall fat distribution and eczemas? I am beginning to think that carotenoids, well, so where do we store carotenoids? If we don't store carotenoids as much in the liver, which is true in the research, where do we store it? Well, you can go, we found several plastic surgeons on the internet commenting that, I mean, you can tell how many carotenoids are being fed to humans and to animals by the color of their fat. If they are getting yellow fat or even orange fat, which plastic surgeons nowadays, because they're misinformed too, they'll be like, oh yeah, we can tell when somebody eats a healthy diet because their fat comes out in the liposuction and it's orange. People are like, oh, buy eggs that are super dark orange. Okay, you tell me how that works out. Eczema, we are seeming to see that people with eczema who reduce their carotenoid intake tend to start doing better. So do I think that we can store, with one of the places we store carotenoids more out in the subcutaneous fat, which is right under what? The skin. Where does eczema show up? On the skin. So reducing carotenoids, and then when you have the people who like switch to the carnivore diet, the all muscle meat, please, if you're going to do the carnivore diet, which I don't recommend, but if you're going to do the carnivore diet, do all muscle meat. All of the long-term carnivore dieters, the 10 years or more, they are all doing only muscle meat. These nose to tail people are like, they may feel great at the beginning, but they are crash and burn within years, if they even last that long. Don't eat liver. Don't. Just watch my video on this channel about how liver is poison, how liver is not good for you. All the cases of people eating liver one time and going to the hospital. Don't eat liver. Don't eat organ meats. Those store the toxins. And if you're going to eat muscle meat, which I do recommend, in general, get it lower fat, because fat is where we store toxins. For those of you out there who won't eat factory farmed meat because it's so full of toxins, and it's, what do they try to do? Why do they give cows, antibiotics and growth hormones and all this stuff? Because it fattens them up. Wait, they give them antibiotics so they don't get infected. And it also fattens them up. What do antibiotics cause in the liver? They cause cholestasis. They cause liver injury. Go look it up. Funny thing, I talked to a gentleman yesterday whose life was ruined by Cipro. Go look up Cipro liver injury cholestasis. And then sometime later, this is a gentleman, I believe he's in his 30s. He had a heart attack. What did I just show you about bile acids in the blood and heart attacks? This is not a coincidence. Okay? But yeah, overall fat distribution. Funny thing that the doctors who were doing the liposuction were saying they were seeing a lot of, who would be doing liposuction? Well, people who are carrying more fat than they'd like, and they were seeing orange fat. So, next question, is there anything to hold a Clark-style liver cleanse using Epsom salts, olive oil, and grapefruit juice, or kidney cleanse using hydrangea, gravel, marshmallow root, parsley, yada, 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 etc.? Grapefruit juice is terrible for your liver. This is why they tell you not to take it with meds. Grapefruit juice slows down your liver. Why? So why do they tell you not to take it with certain medications? Because if you slow down your liver too much with that medication, your blood levels go up too fast and you're gonna get very sick or maybe die. They're telling you, we're selling you a poison, but to keep it from becoming too poisonous, don't drink grapefruit juice with it. Don't. I used to have a grapefruit tree in naturopathic medical school, and I used to eat a big grapefruit every day. And boy, I started to feel awful. And then I stopped eating it. I researched grapefruits more, and I was like, I'm not eating those anymore. And I stopped, and slowly I got better again. Mini citrus fruit in general, don't eat it. Let's do citrus fruit in general has some of the best defenses in the plant world. Here, raw orange intake is associated with higher prevalence of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in an adult population. 2019 study. The more raw oranges they ate, the worse they got. Oh, we got to get off. Okay. The liver cleanses, if you want to call it I got to wrap up here. I got to go do the inner circle. The liver cleanses that you hear about that cause you to have massive diarrhea, what they do is you do a low-calorie diet in general for so many days before it, maybe a liquid diet, maybe you're not eating much, maybe you're just eating apples. There's all sorts of variations. It's a low-intake diet. So your gallbladder, it's also a low-fat diet. So your gallbladder is not spitting out as much bile, it's holding it back. Okay? Then you take basically cathartics, if you will. You're taking a high dose of Epsom salt, which is a laxative. You're taking a high dose of olive oil, which excess fat is a laxative. And you are so you're storing up your bile for a couple of days. And then you're taking things that cause the bile dump, the fat. But so you don't, I don't know if you know this, but when you eat a lot of fat, you reabsorb the vitamin A and you reabsorb the bile acids more. So you're not helping yourself that much when you take high doses of fat. But when you do the liver cleanse, you dump all that bile because you ate all the fat, but you take the laxative, so you crap it all out. So are you basically doing a big bile dump by giving yourself diarrhea? Sure. Is this sustainable? Is it fun? No, it's not fun. It's terrible. It sucks. Why not just fix all of it instead of doing this horrible 3 to 5 day thing? Because those are not gallstones in the toilet. Oh my goodness. That's why no one ever goes and analyzes them, is because they're not gallstones. That's the mixture of your bile salts and the olive oil and the Epsom salts. Why are they all based around these similar things? There's tons of things you could use for diarrhea, but only some of them are going to give you the magical appearance of the whatever you want to call them, stones or whatever. They're not stones. They're not gallstones. Your gallbladder's not this big holding like 30 stones, okay? That is some of the hoax that the alternative medicine community foists on you. Which, just so you know, anybody really big in the alternative community and anything really big in the conventional community, they're all controlled opposition. No one is allowed to get really big unless they are controlled opposition. They fooled you on both sides. Sad to say. So searching through all this research and finding it, why do they not want to talk about cholestasis? Because if you start looking into cholestasis and you find out that almost every pharmaceutical drug out there causes cholestasis, then you start to wonder, what are they doing to us? Why are they not talking about this? Why do they have these measurements of bile acids in the blood and they find it correlated with all these diseases, but they won't say that this is correlated with all these diseases? Because then you'd have to look really hard at big pharma. It's just the way it is. So anyway, I got to get going. So for those of you who had questions, I didn't get to my carotenoid addiction today, but I'll go over that in the inner circle in a couple minutes. So anyway, if you have questions and you want to come next week and give me your questions. And that's basically it. I am Dr. Garrett Smith, the Nutrition Detective, signing off. Please check out the other videos on this channel, like and subscribe and all that stuff that you got to say at the end of all these. And I will see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.